On today's show, what have we learned so far about the Dallas Mavericks? About Luka Doncic, who's going to lead the league in scoring this year. About Christian Wood, Spencer Dinwiddie, about what the Mavericks are as a team. We'll talk about that and more on today's Locked On Mavs.
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavs Coaching.
Mavericks, NBA champions. It's good, and the Mavericks have won the game.
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
And welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager for the Locked On Podcast Network. Thanks for making Locked On Mavs your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. The best way you can help us grow the show is to comment anything below. Let us know what's one thing you've learned about the Mavericks this season. Just one thing. Today's episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with the promo code Locked On. That's prizepicks.com, promo code Locked On. And joining me, as always, my co-host, writer, and contributor at Mavs.com, the learning legend, the One More Thing King. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
So I went out to eat tonight in Irving. And
yeah,
this place was packed. All right.
Okay.
And I'm like, what is going on? It's next to the music factory.
Yeah.
Couldn't find any parking, and pulled up to this parking attendant. I'm like, hey, do we have to pay $20 to park just to go eat? And call me cheap, I don't care. And I was like, what's going on? He's like, hey, Chris Rock's here.
Yo.
I was like, all right, so is Will Smith? Or anyway, shout out to Chris Rock.
So tonight you found out why everybody hates Chris. Because he makes everything full, and then you have to pay for parking.
Exactly. I ended up paying $10 for parking, but
wow.
Anyway,
wow,
cheated the system.
on today's show, we're going to talk about what we've learned about the Dallas Mavericks this year. Talk about what this team is, what Luka Doncic has done, what Christian Wood has done, all that kind of stuff. And then we'll talk about the league a little bit too. Around there's just some weird stuff happening around the league. The Warriors lost again tonight. They're 3-6.
Not just the basketball court.
Well. The league is in the league as a whole. We're gonna be okay over here with our controversy that is Christian Wood's minutes. That's gonna be our controversy, and I'm gonna be okay with it for right now.
Is this not like just the league as a whole though? Like, what a start to the season.
Can we unplug it and plug it back in again? Like, good lord.
Yeah, like take out the little cartridge and like blow it.
I saw Nekias Duncan make this point today. The basketball has been awesome. Like the on the court stuff has been great. It's all the off the court stuff that just all came at once. Like. All this from Ime Udoka to Miles Bridges to Kyrie to
but even the basketball stuff, like all the top, like a ton of the top teams. I shouldn't say all because like Milwaukee.
No, but there have been good games and stuff. Like some teams are playing well, some teams are not. It's fine.
But a lot of these top teams that people are looking at, they're not playing well, and there's either drama or anyway. We'll talk about it at the end.
Yeah. All right. One thing that I've learned about Luka Doncic this year, he's going to lead the league in scoring.
Ooh.
He's going to lead the league in scoring. I'm sticking with this. He said this season, I don't have to score 30 points every single game in order for us to win. But guess what? He scored 30 points in all 7 of the games so far. The only other player to ever do that to start a season is Wilt Chamberlain. He's averaging 36.1 points per game. He's shooting almost 52% from the field. He's shooting under 24% from 3. Like, he's not like Luka revs into a season, warms up into a season shooting the 3, and he has not shot the 3 ball well at all. If that ever comes around, scoring for him is going to become, listen to this, scoring for him is going to become easier if he starts hitting his 3s, like easier than it is right now.
Do you think he'll ever change? Because I feel like we've been saying that since year 1.
Well, but last year he warmed up into it and shot 35% from 3. We started to see his 3 ball go down, I thought.
Yeah, I just wonder if it's going to be one of those things that it's kind of like Ben Simmons stuff. Man, can you imagine when he's when he's healthy and what he can be?
It's more like Westbrook. It's more like Westbrook. If Westbrook ever started to cut, if Westbrook ever started to play defense, I think it's more like that. The Ben Simmons stuff, there's some real issues there.
But at some point, we're going to be entering year 8 of Luka saying, dude, he's averaging 35. He's won 2 MVPs and a title. Can you imagine when he gets his 3-point percentage up?
Okay, but last year in October, he shot 24% from 3. November was a good month for him. He shot 38%. Then he shot 27% and 28% in December and January. And then the last 3 months of the season, he shot 41%, 39%, 37%. So like it ebbed and flowed last year too, where he started out cold, had that good November, and then really ramped up in February, March, and April, shooting the threes. Like we've seen this before, where he's had down months, and then he'll just get hot for a month, and he'll be unguardable even more.
So this is top 5 in scoring right now in the league. You got Luka Doncic at 36.
Yeah.
A game. Number 2 is Giannis at 33. So a good 3-point difference right now.
Chump.
We know.
Chump.
It's small sample size kind of. Kevin Durant at 32. SGA at 31.
Dropped a 40 burger tonight. Was incredible.
Future Maverick.
Hope so. He was great.
Ja Morant at 31. Donovan Mitchell 31. Dame 31 basically. But out of those guys, who do you think has a chance of passing? Is it just Giannis or Ja?
Well, Ja and Durant and SGA are like carrying the offensive load on their team right now.
They're going to trade SGA at some point.
You really think so?
I really think they do, yeah.
Interesting. Also, SGA had 37. I thought he got that last, but he did not. I think it's Giannis probably. I think that's probably it. I mean, Kevin Durant, okay, is Kyrie Irving going to play another game for the Nets?
No.
Because if not, then it's KD. Like KD's just going to score 35 points every single game the rest of the season because that's their only answer to anything.
Or they eventually just trade him because he's like, dude, I really don't have any.
Yeah, then he goes to the Suns, and who knows what's going to happen there.
Yeah, because I mean, even Nick Giannis, I mean, they're gonna have Middleton, they have Drew. There's some other guys who can at least score the ball a little bit more.
True.
So, I'm with you. I think Luka's gonna do this, and this podcast of saying what we learned, it is a little difficult because we can't list something that we expected, right? Like,
no, I've learned this. I know it's gonna happen. I've learned this because I've seen how easily he's scoring right now. And I've learned where he's gonna go, right? I've opened my third eye and I have learned this.
I'll put something. I'll just tie my Luka one into this.
Okay.
I think I've learned that it feels like Luka's going for the MVP. That he's going to go for it this year. And I mean, from the usage stuff to 36 points a game to just everything he's doing on the basketball, it's not like a negative thing at all. Like, I think he's going for it. I think he does want it this year, even though it's all going to be about team success. And I mean, he was both of our picks before the season. So
for sure. Is his individual defense going to hold him back from that?
No, I don't think so. Team record matters way more than individual defense.
And I think his individual defense is going to hurt the team record a little bit. The way that he's defended so far this year.
I'd say this last game he was not good. I think there's some other games he hasn't been as bad.
Been very up and down for sure.
But this last game was like, oh, okay, yeah, you're kind of worn down. You're not trying as much in this game, but everything's going to depend. He's going to have the stats for it. For sure. Everything's going to depend on the record. I think for Dallas,
it's gonna depend on the record. I'm not saying the word that we're not saying around MVP anymore. I'm done. The storylines around MVP, the conversation around MVP, what becomes of it, I'm done. I don't want to talk about it anymore. But yeah, Luka Doncic is going to keep scoring as this easily because like the way he's scoring, that's not going to slow down. I don't think. Just the way he's getting his shots. He talked about one thing that he said in the presser after the Utah game the other night was someone asked him about posting up. I think it was Grant asked him about posting up. And Luka said, it's easier for me. I can use less energy when I post up and like I have more options out of a post up like that. And he's doing that more this season. And I think that's helped him score even easier because he's backing guys down. And if the other team is not going to like double him in that moment, then he just has a one-on-one in the post and not even Bol can block his shot in the post. So I don't know who is going to do it. All right, coming up, let's talk about some other things we've learned. What have we learned about Christian Wood? I've learned something about Spencer Dinwiddie that I did not expect to learn this season. We'll talk about that coming up. But before we do, let me tell you about Prize Picks. Prize Picks is an incredible game that you can go check out. And you can pick 2 to 5 players. And if they score more or less than their Prize Picks projection, you can win money. So go to Prize Picks. You go ahead and log in. I'm literally doing it right now as we're talking. Go to the NBA. You can check out what they have available. You can also combine this with the NFL. There's soccer. There's PGA. There's tennis. There's MMA. You can combine this with all kinds of different stuff. Our old friend Porzingis is playing, and the Washington Wizards are playing the Brooklyn Nets. Oh my gosh. There are no Brooklyn Nets on Prize Picks right now. I think that's probably smart Prize Picks. Porzingis over under 21.5 points against the Nets.
Over
on that. Bradley Beal 21.5 over under.
Over.
Yeah, they can't defend it. Like, the Nets can't defend it all. $20 if you put that down, and both of them get the over. You win 60. Put down $100. You win 300. Go check it out. It's Prize Picks. Use the promo code LOCKEDON. You'll receive 100% instant deposit match up to $100. Go ahead and check it out. It's PrizePicks.com. Promo code LOCKEDON. All right, Isaac. Let's keep talking about some things that we've learned. I learned that Isaac's mustache can be curled to a point and to a loop, and he just needs to do it. For the audio listeners, that's what he was doing during the ad break. Christian Wood. Christian Wood can score, but he can't defend.
You learned this,
but he can't. This is a full complex compound sentence here.
You learned that he couldn't defend.
Christian Wood can score, but he can't defend, and it's holding him back, right? This is a thing.
Okay.
I think. Let me finish the full thought before you just lean into my simple ideas. I'm taking simple ideas and make them simpler for people. All right, it's holding him back, right? We talked about this a lot yesterday, where Jason Kidd has made several either subtweety type comments or underhanded type comments just about Christian Wood and his defense. About even last night, he had a great game against the Jazz. And he said, Christian Wood was out there, and since we were in zone defense, he could, be effective. And you're like, okay, they really don't think he can defend. And it's been proven on the court so far. He doesn't look like he knows where to be at certain points. There's a lot of anytime somebody scores, he's either frustrated or he's looking around like, was that supposed to be me? Was I supposed to be in that spot where that offensive player just went? And he's farther off than I expected him to be. But we knew it was going to take some time. If he was ever going to get it, if he was ever going to get this system, learn how to play defense, it was going to take time. It's just going to take more than a month, I think.
Yeah, I have a couple of Christian Wood, ones. When you sent this question to me, I immediately wrote down 3, and they're about the new guys because we're learning about some of these new guys, Christian Wood, JaVale, whatever. I wrote down 2 Christian Wood things I've learned.
The plural of woods is wood, right?
One of them was Christian Wood has to play with Maxey. And this plays into your defensive thing. So I was talking to a media member before the game the other night, and we were talking about Christian Wood and all this. And he told me, he was like, a lot of people talk about adding Christian Wood to the starting lineup, but hey, if Christian Wood gets added to the starting lineup, then you got to find a way to add Maxey too, because Dallas wants to play, he almost has to play alongside Maxey because of the defense. So I was looking up some lineup stats, and there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 3-man lineups for the Mavericks who've played over 70 minutes so far for the Mavs this season. And when you look at the net rating of those, there's only 1, 2, 3. There's only 3 of those that have above 10 positive net rating. All 3 of those lineups have Christian Wood and Maxi Kleber.
So of the Mavericks' most used lineups, there's only 3 of them right now that are positive, that are playing well, that are outscoring opponents.
Over 10, like a plus 10 or above. There's a couple of them that's
that are great lineups, right?
Yeah. So you look at this lineup: Tim Hardaway, Christian Wood, Maxi Kleber. That 3-man lineup right there has played 86 minutes together. They're a plus 10. That's been part of the fourth quarter lineup that they've seemed to find at the beginning of the fourth quarter. That's been going on to runs at the beginning. That's been a good lineup. Yeah, Maxi, Christian Wood, Luka Doncic plus 11.
Yep.
Maxi, Christian Wood, Josh Green plus 25.
Yep. Other part of that lineup
in 74 minutes. So it just shows you that there is something with that tandem that Maxi allows, or Maxi covers up for some of the defensive deficiencies of Christian Wood. I'll add this in that this is more of a statement.
Well, on to your point, and Christian Wood covers up. Maxi can't score a lot, right? He's a spot up shooter, and that's kind of it. And Christian Wood adds that punch off the bench that you need, and so it makes for a really good tandem. Should we get our player fuser back out where we wanted to, in the past, we wanted to fuse players together? Could we fuse Maxi and Christian Wood together? That would be near perfect player, I think, at this point.
That might be Anthony Davis, like younger Anthony Davis. This was more of a statement about Christian Wood, but the coaching staff feels different than the fans about Christian Wood.
Yeah.
We've talked about this a lot.
Some fans,
yes, some fans, that there is a disconnect with a portion of the fan base. I would say even some of the media of like what Christian Wood's role should be or would be compared to what the coaching staff thinks it should be too. So that's definitely something I've learned.
From what we've heard, they're far away from bringing him into starting lineup. And from what I've read on comments on Facebook and on our YouTube comments, it's like, why doesn't Jason Kidd just start him? Like, just start him. Just go ahead and do it. And he's like, it's not like they're just right over the edge, and if he has one more good game, they're like going to make the decision to put him in the starting lineup. Like, they're really far apart on that right now, it seems like.
Yeah, I mean, we said it yesterday, but Dwight's closer to starting than Christian Wood.
Yeah.
And I mean, is that going to frustrate fans?
After how Dwight played against Utah, probably not. He played incredible. And here's one of mine. Dwight Powell deserves to play. He deserves to get some time. And then JaVale needs time, but he's not going to get it. So there's two different things here. There's Dwight Powell, who's a consummate professional, who's that clip of Spencer Dinwiddie going on his monologue after the Jazz game of him just talking about how professional Dwight Powell is, how it's the hardest position in the NBA to be a starter, then to get demoted to not playing, then to like cheer on the people that are taking your job, and then to just stay ready and to come back and look like you've never left. Like, that's one of the hardest things in the NBA, he said. And I saw so many people. I saw Chine Agumake from ESPN in the WNBA Stanford connection, but she tweeted it out and was like, Dwight Powell's one of the best guys I know in the NBA. I saw former Mavs coaches, Jared Dudley, retweeted it. Like, a bunch of people have been saying really great things about Dwight. It seems to galvanize the team, and they need that Dwight, Josh Green energy off the bench every once in a while. Like, you just need that punch of like that hustle, that extra, because they got scorers. They got Tim Hardaway and Christian Wood off the bench. Like, they have that. They need that extra energy, and I'm not sure where else you're getting it besides those two guys. And so Dwight Powell deserves to play. It's one of the things I've learned.
Yeah, I remember, Dwight has a role in the, NBA PA. Also, we, during the bubble and all that stuff.
Who else has a role in the NBA PA? Do they have a vice president?
Yeah, Kyrie Irving is part of that. I don't know if you've heard of that name before.
Has he made any news this week? I don't know.
I'll add about Dwight thing. One thing I've learned is JaVale McGee hasn't been an upgrade over Dwight Powell. I mean,
I have never seen Isaac go from such a stance that he held so true at the beginning of the season to completely letting it go as fast as I've seen him.
I mean, you got to admit when you're wrong. Like,
right.
I was wrong.
Right. And I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying how fast it flipped and just how wild it is that like JaVale McGee was supposed to just be, and we didn't expect too much of him. It was just like this one role we envisioned him to play, and he's not even filling that at this point. It's kind of wild. Do you think it's more with JaVale? We've seen him be like, ineffective as a rim protector. Rim roller stuff I feel like has been okay. He probably needs some more time on that. But do you think it's more age and like foot speed and like ability, or do you think it's still him getting acclimated to a new team, to a new environment, new players, all that?
It looks like it's age and foot speed. Like, that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm scared. That's why I'm like, oh, because it doesn't look like, it'd be different if it was like some of these Christian Wood plays where it's like, oh, I thought you were going here, or throwing the hands up, like, why am I doubling? Like, that type of stuff. He doesn't seem confused out there.
He seems disappointed in himself.
Yeah, and it has to be frustrating for him. So
sure.
It just reminds me too much of DeAndre's last times here, and that just
DeAndre
scares
Jordan.
me. And yeah, but anyway, I mean, and I put that line in there because that was one of their offseason moves, and it's very clear that's of you look at the monologue that Dinwiddie talked about of Dwight Powell going from starting in the Western Conference Finals to getting replaced over the summer. Like, it was very, very clear. There's no other way around it. They signed JaVale McGee to replace Dwight Powell, and he started off training camp and everything as just a DNP-CD. Like, hey, we're glad you're here. Great teammate. You're a pro, but we need to upgrade you. Like, it's Nico and them saying after you losing to the Warriors, hey, we got to get better down low.
Yeah.
We got to get better rebounding.
What an indictment on your play.
Yeah. So not that he needs more motivation, because I did this long story with him last year and, called how Dwight bounced back and got his bounce back. And, he talked about, he mentioned this one thing. We talked over the phone, and I remember him telling me, I was like, what keeps you just so motivated? He's like, because there's always that other guy that's working to replace me. And that was before all the other, like JaVale and everything happened. That was before the playoff run and all that. Can you imagine what that motivation felt over the offseason of those comments? And then they signed JaVale to replace you, a guy that's, older than you and everything, to be better than you. And now he's come back and says, dude, I'm going to outwork this guy and I'm going to show it to you. And he is showing it. And it's like, all right, like you can't dislike that. And I'm happy for him. Yeah,
absolutely. Coming up, I want to talk about Josh Green a little bit, talk about a couple of things I'm seeing from the Mavs, and then let's talk about the rest of the league. There's some weird stuff going on with the Warriors, the Suns, the Clippers. We'll talk about that and the difference between all those teams coming up. All right, Isaac Harris, thanks for making Locked On Mavs your first listen. Make your second listen today. Locked On Sports Today, an incredible podcast covering all the sports in the sports world, all of them, with interviews from Locked On hosts. Also, go check out me on Locked On NBA. I hosted it with Adam Mares. I think I haven't recorded it yet, so it's either me and Adam or it's me and Isaac. That's what it's gonna end up being. But go check out Locked On NBA. I probably have it up by the time you're listening to this. Josh Green deserves more time. That's something I've learned so far. I've loved what I've seen from Josh Green. We've talked the last couple of episodes about how he needs to find more time. We joked about how Jason Kidd said, somebody's got to find him more. Like, we got to find him more time somehow. And then the last four games, he's played 13 minutes, 15 minutes, 17 minutes, and almost 19 minutes against Utah. His minutes have risen. He's shooting the ball from three, and the last four games, he's taken 3, 2, 2, and 3 threes. Like, that's what we wanted to see. Just increase the amount of threes that he's taken. He's looked confident in them. It doesn't hurt that he's shooting like 58% on those threes so far. He's getting the steals. He gets his one offensive rebound every game that he just continues to get. And it's just been awesome to see him really step into this role and hopefully, we think, take some minutes from Dorian and Reggie so that they can be ready, better for fourth quarters and better for the stretch run.
Happy for him. We heard a lot about his offseason, MVP of the offseason and all that. Is it weird that I think he deserves more time, but I don't know what he is? Like, I still don't know what he is.
Yeah, it's like he does stuff. He does stuff you want, but you're just not sure. Like, he doesn't fit.
I know. That's it. Yeah.
It's like if you have kids and you have that little circle thing with the holes in it that are all different shapes. You're like trying to put pieces into the shaped holes. Yeah. And some of them fit in different ones. And I feel like Josh Green is that. He's like the rectangle one where you can put it in the star hole if you want to because he fits a certain way, but not exactly perfect. He's not like, can't find exactly where he needs to go.
Yeah, I don't know about that analogy, but I kind of get it.
You can't win them. You can't win them all.
But yeah, I'm happy for him. And it does feel like he has improved over the offseason.
Couple other things.
One more.
I was going to say a couple other quick things we learned. The Mavs still have they're back to a great offense. Second ranked offense in the NBA, 118.1 points per 100 possessions. Phoenix is number 1. Mavericks are the 14th ranked defense. So they're back to the Mavericks that they were 2 years ago, 3 years ago with Luka and KP and all them. They also have this. So with the second ranked offense, the 14th ranked defense, they have the same kind of profile right now as the Pelicans, the Celtics, and the Sixers. And I find that kind of interesting.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. I have one with free throw attempts. So last year, the Mavericks finished the season at 22nd overall in free throw attempts per game at around 21 free throw attempts a game.
Okay. So
can you take a guess where they're at right now?
They were bottom half of the league. I'm going to say they're higher because Christian Wood's getting free throws. We've seen Tim Hardaway have a good game of free throws. Luka's obviously getting to the line. So I'm going to say they're top 15 now.
Right now, they're number 1.
Whoa!
In the league at 29 free throws per game.
I really covered my bases with the top 15 thing. I was like, let me just take 15 spots.
Now, obviously, we're talking about last year where they finished last year after 82 games. And this year we're only 7 games in. But is this real or not that they're making a more of an effort? Maybe it's the roster construction, like you said, having Christian Wood in there, or maybe a little bit more of a conservative effort to get to the line and get, more free throws. But yeah, jumping from, if they could like stay in the top 10 at least and move from 22nd in the league to a top 10 free throw attempts per game, team. That would be awesome. Now, don't look up their free throw percentage, but still, they're at least getting to the line more this year.
Luka is second in the NBA in free throws per game. He's at 11.3 attempts per game. So that's obviously a big reason why. But you and I, even yesterday, were like, Spencer Dinwiddie needs to get to the free throw line more. His free throw rate is the lowest in his career so far. He's not even, he's not even top. He's like the seventh on the Mavericks in free throws attempted per game, 1.7. That's not enough. But Christian Wood's getting 5.3. Tim Hardaway Jr. is at 4.0. Dwight's getting 2. JaVale's getting 2 each time they go out. Josh Green's getting some. Maxi's getting some. It just seems like the team overall is getting the free throw line a little bit more because it's probably because Luka is getting fouled a bunch early on, getting them in the bonus, and then in some quarters they're getting the line a little bit more. So I think it's all kind of connected there.
26 in the league in free throw percentage. So getting to the line a lot.
It's not great, Bob. It's not great.
Anyway,
Christian Wood's shooting 65%. JaVale shooting 58%. So when your bigs aren't hitting free throws, but they're going to the line a lot, that's going to affect it.
Yeah. What else you got?
The first quarters are still rough. 24th ranked defensive rating in first quarter, so that's still something they got to work on. Their offense has been good in first quarters, but their defense has still been bad. I want to talk about the rest of the league, though. The Golden State Warriors.
I was just going to add one real quick. Mavs man.
Hold on, wait. Say the thing.
Hey, one more thing.
Yeah.
Last thing I learned about the Mavs is Mavs man got a makeover. So,
and it sucks. It's
your
terrible.
buddy.
Just get rid of him.
Anyway, keep going.
Let's talk about the league. Do it like a different animal. I don't know. Do like
anything but Brooklyn.
The Golden State Warriors are 3-6. They've lost 4 straight, and they got some problems to try and figure out. I think that's interesting. They're having like this weird finals like hangover that no one really saw coming because how they looked the first couple of games of the season, and now all of a sudden like they're out of the play-in right now. It's only been 9 games for them, but like they're in 12th in the West right now, and that's pretty wild the way that they look.
I mean, look at teams with losing records right now. I know I have Basketball Reference up, so they don't have fully updated, standings. But
go to ESPN; they have the updated ones, or NBA.
These are teams with losing records right now: Philly, Miami, Brooklyn, Lakers, Warriors. Clippers are 500. Minnesota's 500. Denver, did they win tonight?
Denver did win. Yeah.
All right, so they're 5-3. But like these are teams that, I mean, come on, like Golden State, Miami, like some of these teams. Were they going to be like bad? I mean, I don't think they're going to be bad, but it is. I mean, I'll take one Draymond if they need to really shake some things up.
I think we'll talk about this in Locked On NBA, but I think the big problem for them is they're trying to get these young guys to start playing. And like Wiseman is supposed to be this rim protector guy, and he's out there not protecting the rim very well. You're like, okay, well, we put you out here to at least be that. Like, I know they're trying to develop. They're trying to walk and chew gum at the same time by playing their veterans and then also play this group of young guys. Like the first game of the season, I thought it was wild that Steve Kerr put out Poole with like all their young guys. You're like, oh dang, they're really just thrown under the fire right then. Now they've staggered Curry and Clay and some of the other ones with them, but yeah, it's been rough anytime those guys are in the game, it seems like.
I know the Brunson move has looked good for New York, but are the Knicks front office, or is the Knicks front office losing some sleep watching Cleveland highlights every night?
About Donovan Mitchell?
Oh, Mitchell's playing so good. They're 6-1. I mean, I know Garland's been out. He's played a lot of point, but still, I mean, you watch him play at that Cleveland team, you're like, all right, this is why you trade for a guy like that when you can. And the Knicks have to be.
They're losing sleep on that one, I think. I mean, you don't know what the ceiling was, but you definitely know what your floor is with Brunson and Mitchell as your 2 guys for sure. The Clippers are 4-4. Kawhi has played 2 games in 42 minutes overall in those 2 games. They're 4-4. So, I mean, he's missed 6 games already. Like, I thought he'd be a little bit more ready for the season. I think Clippers fans thought he'd be a little bit more ready for the season. I know Darian Vaziri is freaking out over on Locked On Clippers right now. So if you still think the Clippers are a big rival and you want to revel in their disdain, go ahead and listen to his podcast. But I think that's wild because we all expected this Clippers team to be this juggernaut, and they're like limping out of the gate, quite literally.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of Kawhi right now, and the Clippers as a whole. The top of the West is so weird. I mean, you look at the top 5 teams. Three of those top 5 are Portland, Utah, and San Antonio. It's like, what the heck's going on?
What is happening?
Phoenix has impressed me because I was a little bit lower on them.
Yeah.
And, I I wouldn't say in like, hey, 10th in the West, but
I think we both had them top 4 or 5 in the West.
Yeah, they just had so much going on with the Sarver stuff, with sending Jay Crowder home, Chris Paul getting another year older, the DeAndre Ayton stuff, the bad loss to Dallas in the playoffs. Like they had so much crap going on. I'm like, all right, this is going to add up for them. But I mean, they're 6-1. They look really dang good. And I didn't like their depth either, but it hasn't really mattered too much.
Jock Landale has been incredible for them. Like I think Suns fans would like murder people for Jock Landale.
Oh, okay. Well,
he's been great.
Yeah. So like they've impressed me. Yeah.
It's been really, really weird in the West. The Mavericks are 4-3. They're 8th in the West right now. And like another win would get them tied for 4th. So, I mean, they're right there. Even though it seems like they've had a rough start here, the Mavericks are still in a good spot. And like you said, 3 of the top 5 teams are teams that we expect at some point maybe to fall a little bit in Portland, Utah, and San Antonio. Like Utah and San Antonio, I think we're just all waiting for.
It's just been a weird.
Just wait for two bad weeks for those teams, and they'll be like at the bottom, I feel like.
Yeah, and at some point they're going to start selling off some people.
Yeah,
I just think collectively. I mean, I know Milwaukee's undefeated and stuff. Phoenix is looking good, but it feels like everything. Considering everything, it just feels like such a weird start to an NBA season. Off the court, on the court, some of these teams that we thought would be at opposite ends of the standings. Some random storylines to trades that didn't happen. It just feels such a weird start to the season. And if you're a Mavs fan, listen to this on Friday game tonight at home.
Yeah.
Toronto Raptors should be a fun one. Toronto likes to score some points. They like to play a little small ball action, and I want to see what Dallas does with that. With Pascal Siakam, OG, some of these guys in the front line when they're not playing a traditional center, for lack of better terms. How does Dallas defend that? And how much zone do they play tonight against Toronto? It's a question.
They can't because they all can shoot. But we'll have a post game episode for that as well. So make sure you're subscribed on the podcast. Make sure you subscribe to YouTube. We're getting close to 20,000 subs. Woo! We're like at 18,900 and something. So we're getting real close to 20K. We got to do something fun for 20K. But guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs. Make your second listen to Locked On Sports today on the podcast or on YouTube. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.
Boom.